I'm Mixer Giant and I'm going to be celebrating Warner Bros. 100th anniversary by upgrading the other forms of Ben 10 media that they announced. And for a new Ben 10 game, it would be a combination of an open world game, a cross-adventure game, a role-playing video game, and an online game. How the open world part of the game would work is it being similar to how it works in Marvel's Spider-Man and Batman the Arkhamverse. Because with the premise, you being able to do detective stuff like in the Arkham games, but you being able to move through the Ben 10 multiverse like in Marvel's Spider-Man. The cross-adventure game part of it would be you doing some missions for the premise on occasion during the main plotline of the game, like there being a new villain starting a cult movement in Undertown, and the premise keeps sending you to try to stop this new villain, with no one knowing who it really is, because of him wearing a mask and lots of people have been unmasked with it. Then it would turn out that it was different people pretending to be the same guy, alternate dimension versions of Ben's villains who are part of the negative 10 from another dimension. And for the role-playing video game part of it, you just need to make it you being able to make up parts of the game, and you making up how those parts of the game would work after you winning online mode, during the upgrades and updates of the game. And you would be able to make up those parts of the game and make up how those parts of the game would work, by there being special programming and you just needing to draw it. The plotline would need to be you going up against an alternate dimension version of the negative 10, and you going up against the Dream Eater and an army of Stalker Tekadon robots, where you being able to make up your own character in the game and it taking place in an alternate universe where you found the Omnitrix. You would start out with 10 aliens each time, and they cannot be reshuffled without creating a new character. You won't get any aliens like Clockwork, Ray Big, or Alien X. You would be able to get more aliens afterwards, but it would always start out with 10. And there would be categories for how good your alien would be at a specific thing, and there would be algorithms to make sure you having a balanced team. How you would get new aliens is by leveling up and by using codes, and using different combinations in a game menu. You would use a special material that Azimuth needs for his inventions as a bargaining chip. You could enter codes at random to get a new alien, but it'll be very little the chance of that happening. And it being the only way for you to get new features of the Omnitrix by leveling up, like the DNA scanner to scan your friend's alien DNA, or an enemy's alien DNA, which fills up your XP bar, and the only way for you to make it even bigger is by leveling up, which is how you also get the communicator and the master control. And if you stay as an alien for too long, or try to crack the code to get a new alien too many times, your Omnitrix will glitch, which will include longer recharge times and energy blast that hits your enemies but also you, and getting the wrong alien, and it's based on actual minutes, not Omni energy. After you defeat the story mode, you'll be able to get online mode as the multiverse. When you get to online mode, you'll still have to go back to using 10 aliens, but you get to pick which 10 aliens you use in online mode. And get master control. You don't get all the aliens at once, you just keep unlocking them after scanning your friend's DNA and leveling up. To make it canon in the Ben 10 universe, you just need to say it being part of the Time War. You fighting against the rogue Chrono Sapiens Clockwork species. You being able to fight Maltruant, one of Ben 10's most powerful supervillains. Then after you defeat him, it'll restart the time loop because there can never be an end to online gaming, so other future players can defeat him too. After you getting online mode, you'll also be able to see the other characters from the Ben 10 franchise and alternate versions of them throughout the multiverse. And you being able to use vehicles and alien high-tech weapons. and you also being able to do combo moves with your friends. Then after you reaching the highest level, Professor Paradox will come to you, and also you becoming a hero of the multiverse and you having a choice to become Alien X and lose your Omnitrix and stay Alien X permanently, or turn down being Alien X permanently and still be able to use your Omnitrix. If you choose to become Alien X, you'll be able to go to the Forge of Creation, and it being a special hub for people who made this choice, and you being able to do a bunch of things only Alien X can do, and you being able to fight against bigger threats. If you choose to stay using the Omnitrix, you can still use the other aliens, and you being able to take advantage of the upgrades and updates of the game. For a new Ben 10 sequel show, it takes place 5 years later after Ben 10 Omniverse and explores him becoming Ben 10,000. You should just adapt Akira the Artist's 5 years later storyline into a Ben 10 cartoon show. He knows Ben 10 much better than anyone because of him being a big fan of him. And that's partially why they haven't been doing good forms of media with Ben 10 lately, because they haven't been getting a creator who is a big fan of Ben 10 lately. And Kuro the artist has done some pretty interesting things with Ben 10. They should just hire him as the guy in charge of the show, because it would be a dream come true for him, and for everyone else who's a part of the Ink Tank YouTube channel. And it would make up for Cartoon Network dissing their fans so much lately. Then for how you would do the Ben 10 live action TV show that Cartoon Network has been saying that they would be doing for a while now. And for the Ben 10 live action movie, you would need Asher Angel as the 10-year-old version of Ben 10, Sydney Sink as the 10-year-old version of Gwen, Louis Partridge as the 11-year-old version of Kevin, and Mark Hamill for the original version of their Grandpa Max. For their Grandpa Max, you can just make it that Mark Hamill without the beard at the beginning of the movie when they're kids, and him having his beard for the rest of the movie when they're teenagers. Then you need Tom Holland to play the teenage version of Ben 10, Gwendol Steinman as the teenage version of Gwen, and Cameron Gillerman as a teenage version of Kevin. Because of those actors being able to get at those characters done perfectly at those ages. And for who you would get to play Ben's aliens, so it being better for the special effects and for it to be more similar to the cartoon shows, you would need John Cena and Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Forms and Wrath. Because Dwayne The Rock Johnson has the muscle and can talk like Wrath, who is based on wrestlers and Wolverine. While John Cena has the muscles and he has the right head shape to play Forearms. For the other ones, there's going to be so much special effects that they just need to be good for special effects and be good actors or voice actors for it. So you'll need Kevin Michael Richardson as Wild Mutt, because not only is he one of the best voice actors, he would be good for the special effects, and he's also the original voice of Wild Mutt from the Ben 10 franchise. And Charles Day is Grey Matter so he can portray the intelligent part of him. Charles Dance is Ghost Freak because he's the only one who can do a scary enough performance for him. Steve Bloom as Vilgax because he was the original voice of Vilgax and he did him the best. Ben Rishaw as Upgrade because he can definitely do the technology voice of Upgrade. Yeah, Maduro Mateen too as Heat Blast because he can definitely do Heat Blast's awesome voice. Will Arnett as Ripjaws because he can definitely do the underwater tough guy Ripjaws voice. Evan Peters as Accelerate because since we've seen him do Quicksilver in the X-Men movies, we know that he can do a fast alien with super speed. Kevin Hart as Stinkfly because he can definitely pull off the Joker part of the alien. Andy Strikes voicing over Diamond Head because he showed he can voice over Diamond Head in the MCU movies he appeared in. Ryan Kelly as Benton Sausen, Karen Gillan as the future version of Gwen, and Nathan Keys as the future version of Kevin. Because some of those actors already played these characters in one of the original Benton live-action movies, and they have said that they do want to play these roles again. And because some of the other actors would be able to do their personalities perfectly. And because they already did these roles before, they would be the perfect people to do the future versions of these characters. Then you would also need Paul Egan as Zombozo, Yuri Lowenfeld as Feedback because he has been adamant about being able to voice over Ben again, Dean Bradley Baker as Big Chill, because Big Chill is one of Benton's most iconic aliens and D. Bradley Baker is the original voice of Big Chill. Tara Strong as Buzzsaw because of her being one of the most iconic voice actors and because of her being the original voice of Buzzsaw. Greg Shipes as Jetray because Jetray is Ben 10's fastest alien and Greg Shipes is the original voice of Jetray. And Steve Blum as the Forever King. And Myri Kell as Generator Rex. And Giovanni Christoph as Zack Saturday. Because they have the same facial features as them and they can do their personalities right. Then for a new Ben 10 cartoon show, you should make it that it be a combination of all the art styles and style and tones of the original Ben 10 animations and shows. With it having the simple yet detailed look of Ben 10 Alien Force and Ben 10 Ultimate Aliens, but it also having the same anime effect of the original Ben 10 show, and with the same alien looking feel as Ben 10 Omniverse, and with it being in 3D like the Ben 10 Destroy All Aliens 3D animated movie. You need to do Ben being just as good without the armor checks, him just being even better with it. And you can also do the router smuggling weapons to supervillains that Kevin left behind as an arms dealer and then being a villain to him specifically. And you're also doing Grandpa Max convincing Ben to join the plumbers full time because of Ben being ready for a road trip at the end of his journey. With you also doing Ben training some new plumbers recruits, with them being similar to the plumbers helpers from the routers. And you would also need to make it then this so you fully establishing that Ben 10 is a plumber but him primarily being a superhero because of him being able to go to places that the plumbers can't. And I'm also going up against a new villain that Vilgax pales in comparison to help him to become Ben 10,000. And for why him still getting the wrong aliens in this show, you can make it that it being because the Omnitrix is giving him what he needs instead, and because of Ben trusting the Omnitrix now. Him just trying to work with it because that's partially why the fans love him so much in the Benton franchise, because of him being able to use the Omnitrix so goodly. But whenever him having an alien he can't possibly work with and him needing to change out of it being Asmod's reason why he gets the wrong alien, with him hitting so hard in the Omnitrix which sets the dial to a random alien. Then for you adding new aliens in the show, and for why him still being called Ben 10,000, you can just say because of him having 10,000 alien combos. Then you doing that Grandpa Max finally reuniting with their Grandma Fedona. At the same time him meeting back up with Xylene. And you do Gwen still having a bad relationship with Sunny, but it's starting to get better. And her telling her cousin Lucy what happened in the Times Heals episodes to explain why they don't just use time travel to solve everything. You'd also do Tech Tracks thanking Ben for bringing his planet back to life, and explore Diamond Head species more since his planet was brought back to life. Then you'd show Argent being a good president of Earth, because of him caring about Benton's son Kenny, and us also seeing the Time Warp from Benton Omniverse, and Marv Rido reuniting with Parv Rido, and the Ridos becoming a family again, because Marvito is Ben's mommy's friend. Then Ben 10 tried to take a day off, but then he would get stuck on another part of the multiverse. Then the guys who are ungrateful for Ben 10 being a superhero would find out how much them needing Ben 10. And when Ben 10 coming back to save them, then finally admitting how good Ben 10 is. Then for Ben 10,000 so, you would need to show in flashbacks Ben traveling around the universe with his family for if you want to see the original Ben 10 in it. Then you would show with Eon's meddling with the time stream. Ben waking up one day and see that his wife is Julie and him having a different kid. Then it would keep changing with Ben trying to change back the timeline. Then he would change it back to the original timeline with the help of Professor Paradox, because of the other ones not being the actual timeline, and because he definitely doesn't want his son Kenny to be erased from the timeline. And you should also take advantage of this to make everything canon in the Ben 10 franchise and to get rid of all the plot holes in it, because zombies are already dead. Then you would also need to make it that Ben 10's childhood best friend Jonesy is dating his cousin Lucy, because they did hint at their romance in one of the last episodes of Ben 10 Omniverse. And you can even make it that Jonesy's barber did a crime to help support his son, and Ben stopped him for the crime. And Jonesy got mad at Ben for it because his barber had a good reason for doing the crime. Fisher could be an honest year working together with the original Rooters now, and dating Rojo. This also being after the thing that happened with malware, so that's why Ben took off the Omnitrix. And how him taking off the Omnitrix is just him going to Azimuth to do it. Because of him turning into different Nematrix alien predators, and because at the time the Nematrix was able to go ultimate, and because of him using Skirt's powers with it, him being able to turn into combo alien predators, while still being able to evolve them to their ultimate form. Him still being sane in his usual form, but when he transforms he's insane, because of the way they hinted at it at the end of Ben 10 Omniverse. He would also start hunting Ben 10's allies, then he would also start playing the most dangerous game with Ben 10 and his allies. Then in the modern day he would fix things up with Ben because of him dating his cousin Lucy, and because of Ben's cousin Lucy convincing him to. Then you'd also make it that when Ben took off the Omnitrix, it was at his 12th birthday, where Gwen got him his jacket that he wore in Ultimate Aliens, which started their friendship, and is why he wore that jacket so much during Alien Force and Ultimate Aliens, which gave Kevin the idea to get Ben the hoodie he wore in Benton Omniverse for his 16th birthday. And because of it coming from someone who is already his best friend and like a brother to him, that's why him changing jackets and that's why him wearing it so much during Omniverse. Agragor would blackmail an Pin into shifting into Grandpa Max because he would know Ben would listen to him. Agragor would blackmail an Pin by threatening to kill him if he didn't shapeshift into a plummet and take that plummet's place at the plummet's base for a few months, which is how Agragor would find out how the plummet's base works, and that Grandpa Max was going to stay a few days at another part of the world for a plummet's mission. So then he would get the Pin to shapeshift into Grandpa Max, then make Ben think that it was Grandpa Max because he knew Ben would listen to his Grandpa Max. Then he would make it look like Grandpa Max was calling from the parts of the world that he was staying in for the plumber's mission, and tell Ben to protect another planet for a while, because of it being so far away, it also being far away from any plumber base. And because of them needing his help more, and because he should be able to trust his friends to protect the planet while he's gone, is why he would be able to do it. But really, this would just be a way to get Ben off planet for a while him trying to invade Earth. with his robot army, so Ben wouldn't be able to stop him from getting revenge on Kevin for stopping him from absorbing the baby celestial sapien. But then Ben would fly at top speed as Zetway back to Earth and help Kevin stop Agrigor. It was so Ben dealing with burnout because of him missing his friends and family, and because of him not having any help protecting the planet on the other side of the universe, which would actually be in danger but only with some alien species there, and it just being in danger because of Agrigor invading that planet too with his robot army, and him just doing it to keep Ben busy there, but Ben would defeat them in time, and him trying to destroy the planet by using a machine there. But the locals of the planet would help Ben 10 to destroy the machine Agrigor was going to use to destroy their planet. Then Ben would inspire some of the locals of the planet to stand up for themselves and to help Ben defeat them. Then the locals of the planet would see Ben as even more of a hero. It will also show Ben not knowing who he can trust, because Grandpa Max is the guy he trusts the most, and Agrigor uses trust of Grandpa Max against him. Then Ben's cousin Lucy would be disgusted with her own species, because of it being because of her own species why the Earth almost got destroyed. Then Agrigor would meet up with Cervantes in a Novoid prison. Then he would meet Cervantes in prison at the Novoid. Then it would turn out that osmosis are what Cervantes said they were in Benton Omniverse, it just not being restricted to humans, and that Cervantes' mind zapped Agrigor into thinking osmosis was something else, and just made him think that there was a place called Osmos 5. Agrigor would try to get revenge on Cervantes for making him think that, because him being motivated by osmosis culture is why him doing these things. Then Ben would need to go to a null-void prison to stop Agrigor from killing Cervantes. Helen tried to get revenge on the Forever Knights for killing her brother. He was just not doing it before because he didn't know about it and because the Forever Knights were already done when she found out about it. But then her boyfriend Mary would stop her from doing it. Then you would say that there are human-alien hybrids. Just for the ones who couldn't mate with human species, those are the experiments from the rooters. And that the only reason why people know what Osmosian is because of the lies Cervantes spread throughout the universe about them, and because of them only knowing it about Kevin, and Kevin had fake memories at the time about it. And for the people who actually knew what Osmosian was, it's because they thought Ben already knew what Osmosian was, because of his best friend being an Osmosian. And that Kevin's Osmosian barber was real, he just wasn't Grandpa Max's partner at one point. Then you can also do a It's Not Easy in the Life of Gwen episode for Grandpa Max, Ben 10, Kevin, and Rock, showing how hard their lives are and that it's never just another day in the world of Ben 10. Then you would show A-Date having a romance with Thunder Pig. Then it would turn out that because Grandpa Max cooked Thunder Pig's barber into an alien food that Ben ate at a family wedding, because of it being usual to make food out of Thunder Pig's half-man, half-pig alien species. So Grandpa Max and Ben 10 didn't even know about it, and that's why Thunder Pig wants to get revenge on Max too. Then in the future, the Forever King would have downloaded his conscience into a computer. We'd also see Kevin being in charge of the routers and Rook being the Magistrata, and also see other parts of the Plumbers and focus on some other Plumbers characters. We'd also see Rook being married to Fiona, and the routers fighting against Kumba, and Vilgax taking it and breaking Marchund out of his time loop to make a Forever King-styled armor out of Marchund so he can use his time powers, and he would recreate the negative 10. Because the original last episode, Ben 10, was way better than the fake-out finale, and the negative 10 is a good idea, so they really should be doing more things with it. They would get Rojo to be the Forever Ninja. Her having a great personality would go well with her being a ninja, And you can also make it her being able to combine with technology because of her having some residual nanites from Vilgax's drone. And joke-themed weapons. And because of him being a zombie, he doesn't need to feed on fear to stay alive anymore. Dr. Animal, who already has a future version of himself in the Ben 10 franchise, and is one of the most iconic parts of Ben 10,000. Future Charmcaster, who Vilgax would free from the Paris and Gwen's college from the last time we saw it in Ben 10 Omniverse. Lord Tranzo, who Vilgax would free from his prison near another planet's sun, and he would kill Dr. Victor and the werewolf and mummy alien, and take the electrical parts from Dr. Victor's back, and attach it to his back, and wrap himself in the mummy's bandages to try to heal his wounds, and wear a werewolf skin robe as a trophy and to get revenge on them for putting him in that prison near Air Transo's son, Kangaroo Commando. And in the future, Billy Burns' way of trying to get himself aging again would go wrong, alongside Captain Nemesis trying to put his mind into a computer to try and get revenge on Ben, would end up with Kangaroo Commando getting an advanced suit and him wearing them as armor. Elena Valadis and her narrative would be partly why them being able to do these things. This was so in the future what happened to her after the last time she fought against Ben, and with her wanting revenge against Ben, but her still caring about him. With her wanting to get rid of Kai instead, so Ben could fall in love with her. Albedo and Vilgax would get his new Ultimatrix working again. And you would make it just because of him turning into a damaged DNA version of Ben 10 as an 11-year-old. He's still an 11-year-old Ben 10 in the future, and him still being a threat to Ben 10,000 because of him still being able to turn into ultimate aliens. Then Vilgax would use Albedo's new Ultimatrix to remutate Kevin and use Elena's microchips to mind control him. Then because of Kevin's son inheriting the mutation powers from him, and because of Kevin loving his son, and his son being best friends and cousins with Kenny, Benton Sousan's son, he would be able to fight against the mind control, and Benton Sousan would be able to cure him in the end. Then Vilgax would use the -10 to steal an Omnitrix from an alternate universe version of Ben 10, so he can turn into a quantum mirror and remake the multiverse in his image. And he would also get both Atea and Luma's army to do it. Then for Kyber the Huntsman, then he would try to absorb all the other multiverses. Then Ben 10 would turn into a combination of Analogian and Alien X, using the power of the Annihilog supercharged with the Dwarf Star and the Sword of Azimuth to defeat Vilgax. The Vilgax fight at the end of Ultimate Eons was known as one of the worst fights in the Ben 10 franchise. So this would be a good way for them to get rid of that problem by this fight having them destroy entire uninhabited planets, and with them manipulating reality against each other. And Ben 10 always has big endings to their shows. So this would be a good way for the Ben 10 franchise to go out with a bang.